All right. So the culture I chose to research for this discussion is Sweden. I personally picked Sweden. So I looked at my ancestry report and I'm about 10% Swedish. So I got some skin in the game. So I figured this would be a good one for me. Um, some facts about Sweden. I didn't know There's quite a bit I didn't know about Sweden, so I hope there's something for anybody watching to take away from this. Um, Sweden is in northeastern Europe. It borders Finland and Norway in the Baltic Sea. The entire country is about the size of the state of California, with a population of about 10.5 million people. The capital of Sweden is Stockholm. Um, their government is a parliamentary democracy. So what that means is people vote for their party, and that winning party gets to pick a prime minister who runs the country. And they're also a constitutional monarchy, which means they have a king, but the king in Sweden is mostly a status symbol and more than like a real function of government. Sweden uses the Swedish krona as their currency. Um, And ultimately, the culture between Sweden and the United States is pretty similar. Um, they're individualistic, pretty much like America is. The difference is Sweden is a little more toned down in most aspects than America. So in America, we're very opinionated and we're vocal and we're outgoing. And in Sweden, you're just a little more toned down. You're a little more formal. You're a little more team oriented. Um, they are low context, just like we are in America. Um, they're just, again, kind of toned down. They're not quite as dramatic as we are, let's say. Um, they're fairly um, flexible. They're pretty tolerant with most things. Again, they value community, like shared knowledge and um, a little more than the United States. We're a little more risk tolerant, I'd say. Um, and power wise, perceptions of power, um, Sweden versus United States, they're a little more um, flexible than we are. They're expected to be a little more approachable, and even with their business owners and their members of government, they're more on a first name basis um, than maybe United States, where we're um, a little more separate. We have a larger wealth gap. I mean, we're a bigger country, but I think in Sweden specifically, their perception of power is a little more tight knit than ours. Um, and I mean, ultimately, like I said, it's pretty similar to the United States. They don't brag maybe as much as we do. They're a little more toned down than we are in the United States. They're a little more community oriented and a little more private than we are in the United States. So I think ultimately, as far as like a culture shock goes, for anybody that were to visit Sweden, it would just be the calmness, the quietness would maybe be the culture shock that you would experience. But for me, I personally, um, I know what to expect now as far as Sweden if I were to ever go, but I think I would actually really like Sweden. I'm personally not quite so outgoing and loud, and I have my opinions, but um, yeah, that's it. Thank you.